Welcome to the Blades of Steel podcast. I'm Kevin Trust with Jesse Christensen.
It's the quickest we've ever started.
That's like, there's some urgency.
I mean,
here,
minus the hour we waited for you to be on hold with the IRS or whoever that was.
I don't even know what that was.
From into the room to live, our best start ever.
I like it. There's nothing worse than me being on hold. Like, there's very few things. Jared, do you like being on hold?
If I have something else to do, like I can double task, then I'm fine with it. But no, usually I don't like it.
I'm surprised. This must have been super important because you won't wait for Xbox to load for like 13 seconds to play a game. Can't imagine you holding.
I know. Really, video game. Oh, I got a tattoo.
Yeah, I believe that.
All right. Let's show the fans.
It's already off.
It's already
That would be a badass tattoo, though.
I know.
Mario 3?
Mario 3, when he turns into the raccoon and he flies.
Did you order that in the mail?
No, there was a little something called Draper Days.
I was going to say, do you get this Draper Day?
Yeah, so there was
Did Lisa Wilson buy this for you?
Lisa Wilson did not buy it. It wasn't cheap for a spray-on tattoo.
Was she the queen of Draper Days? Did they
afloat?
Did they give a queen and king?
No, but they should.
They should.
Lisa would be the queen of Draper.
You should be in the running next year. You and Lisa, king and queen of Draper Days.
Mike and Emily would love that.
Versus Nick Smith and I don't know who else lives in Draper.
The who's who of Draper. I don't even live in Draper, but I did go to Draper Days.
But it's like your hometown.
No, so let me just paint this scene for you. So
Merlin.
Saturday night, Merlin is he's the emperor. You're the duke. What?
I don't live in Draper.
Well, neither do I. Neither does Merlin, I don't think, honestly. But no, so Draper Days, like, I love like how Utah has, every city has like their, Heber Days or whatever. They all have their own thing, and they all compete over like who has the coolest city. It's kind of fun when they compete for it because it really does make it cool. But they had Diamond Rio come and perform, which I didn't know if I knew one Diamond Rio song.
And I love Diamond Rio, and then I was a little sad that they've fallen this far to be playing at Draper Days.
Or maybe that's a great gig. I don't know.
Maybe that's the pinnacle of country music.
I was going to say there were a lot of people there, but
I'm going to tell you it's not.
Probably not. But there were booths, and my daughters wanted to get spray tattoos, and some of them want to get henna, whatever that is. But and so I let my daughter pick is
this a spray on?
Yeah, it was a spray on, and I was like, "You don't mind if I do it on my chest, do you?" Right when she started, and she did not mind. Keep in mind. In fact, maybe we'll put Jared. Do we have a new Instagram account, by the way?
It's coming. It's coming. I already got the logo and all the good stuff coming. So.
Well, I have a video of me with my shirt off, surrounded by a bunch of kids
because
waiting.
These don't exist. Nowhere are there any videos of Kevin with his shirt off, Jared. So we're really going to want to publicize this one.
But it just so happened, and she did love it. You'll see it in the video. But it just so happened that my favorite Diamond Rio song, I didn't even know I had a favorite song. And then this came out.
I stopped walking your way. That one?
No, it's called You're Gone. You know how I mean you have like our little depressed songs.
Meet in the Middle is not your favorite Diamond Rio song?
One More Day is also not my favorite. It's called You're Gone, and he only played like the first verse of it, which obviously means it wasn't very popular, which means I was a true fan.
To get the next act on. Yeah. Busy lineup at Draper Days.
Oh, yeah. But no, it was actually fun. Draper Days was fun. That's not what we're here for. But, and I feel like this is the first time ever I felt like this is what it would feel like if I really had a tattoo. My confidence is up. I'm better at sports.
Do you think you'd be more confident if you had a Mario Tanuki tattoo?
My clothes are fitting better. Everything's up.
Is that tattoo of you got the leaf or you got the P?
That's the leaf.
There's a big difference.
No, that's the leaf. The P is a never-ending fly. Come on, give me a challenge.
It's the better one to have.
Yeah, but give us a challenge, dude. Like, let me get up to like a decent speed before I fly. I'll put in the work. I don't need just like free flying,
My son is forcing me to be Luigi for Halloween this year, so.
You guys are planning that out a little early, Jared.
I kind of think you have the body shape of a Wario. Why don't you bring him in here and I'll show him some images?
That's what I was trying to tell him, but he's convinced that he wants me to be Luigi, so we'll see. I'll be a fat Luigi.
I'm not trying to be rude, Jared, but you can't pull that off.
Yeah. Well, no, the nice thing
Mario,
is...
maybe.
Hey, I got some time to lose
Wario
weight.
for sure.
I was gonna say the nice thing is you got 6 months to prepare for your
You do
Halloween
a few more
costume.
bench presses, maybe Donkey Kong,
No.
even a Bowser.
What?
No, Jared, you don't have the body of a Donkey Kong. Diddy, not even Diddy.
Kirby.
Is that the worst body type to have? Like, you remind me of Kirby.
Completely round.
You could just paint yourself pink and tell them you're Kirby, Jared.
I'll try that. I don't know if I can beat Luigi.
Hey,
but
real question, and this actually I do want. If you could be one character from any video game, what is it? Fictional.
I don't have enough time to prepare for this, but like, I feel like I'm more like a Donkey Kong or a Bowser.
You could be a Donkey Kong. I think I'm more of a
Bowser when I'm in a bad and you're too nice.
So what am I? Toad? A tall toad?
Zangief. You're Zangief.
Oh, I'm Zangief. I'm Zangief like 2 buffets deep.
You're Zangief like 10 to 12 years after he retired.
If Zangief and E Honda had a child,
You still you still have like the poisoning from living in Russia and the beard and maybe a few scars. You're Zangief.
I'm Zangief.
I'd be Johnny Cage.
You would
Jared.
not be Johnny Cage.
I'm glad that it's like in a positive way, but you have a real lack of understanding of what your body looks like.
Well, one can dream.
Johnny Cage.
Yeah, you would be a good Donkey Kong, actually. And you would just keep throwing barrels. Whether it was work or not, you just keep throwing the model of
It's
consistency.
a big, dumb, hairy beast.
This might be my favorite start of any podcast ever. This is all off the top, people. Like, I know.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this in the pre-show notes.
Yeah. I was waiting for Jared to be like, I think I'd be Kid Icarus.
I have no
Hey,
idea.
how many
What
have you? I don't know if you've noticed. I've been product placement last couple
Celsius.
episodes.
Are you
Turn
hoping to
turn
get
your
it?
monster the other way.
No, I'm kind of disappointed in myself. So I went a year and a half without drinking an energy drink, and I was actually I actually wasn't anything about it. I was completely neutral. I didn't care. It wasn't like a big goal. Just one day I was like, I'm drinking too many. I drank 3 energy drinks in a day once. And I was like, I think I'm done for a while. I didn't drink one for a year and a half. The last like month they've crept it back in, and I'm drinking like maybe 2 a week. So nothing crazy, but it's a slippery slope. If Mario, well, plus I forgot how big these cans are. I feel like I'm in Mario World 4 right now, the big world, where this is actually a normal can, but it's just so much bigger.
You know that drink was invented for females.
Monster?
No, that specific white one. It's on the can.
Well, it's the only one that tastes good.
If you read the origins of that one, it's delicious.
Who's that Celsius made
For
for?
extreme female athletes.
What's that
That's
Celsius
like
made
that's
for?
for like a Bella Wright, not you.
Bella Wright, the number 2 downhill women's skier in the world. Well, in America. Basically in the world.
I don't know, but I know she knows The Rock, so like she's number 1 in my
That is
eyes.
so true. All right. Well, Monster and Celsius, neither of which are a sponsor of the podcast. So we might have to take all that out, Jared, for our real sponsors. We don't want them to get mad.
I'll put some blurs on them. So
Thanks. Yeah. That'll be our first edit out is just from product placement, your product placement.
They were like, "Hey, we won't even take it for free."
Hey,
we hate this podcast. Put our drink away.
We heard that little rant on Bowser. I know. For those of you who don't know what Jared's body type is, maybe we should throw that on the Instagram page when it's up too.
Well, when Jared speaks, you're watching on YouTube.
Dude, what if we
my
do
dad calls me a Clydesdale. Is that?
also generous?
Even that, honestly, is pretty,
Hey, how many Clydesdales do you know that can run the marathon?
pretty generous.
Half of a marathon? A lot. We're not going down that road again, Jared, but I do want to.
Jared, are you talking about the power pad? Did you used to kneel down behind and slap the power pad with your
that was
hands,
me.
Jared,
That was me.
to
for
beat the
sure.
cheetah?
That was me for sure.
Hey, did anyone ever beat cheetah on their feet?
Cheetah Tyreek Hill or Cheetah, the actual
No,
cheetah? in
on
that
the
game?
power pad.
Did you have the what was it called? The cheat code thing that
You say the wizard?
The
I was
Wizard
gonna
was the
say
greatest movie
Jared
of all
was
time.
in the Wizard, but he wasn't Fred Savage.
he was not Fred Savage's body type either. This is going to transition really well, but I want to have our Instagram page that we're really teasing this again, not even in the notes, but I want to put a picture of Jared. I get to pick the
Jared,
picture.
we've been texting you about I've been texting you about the Instagram page for months. Like, what's taking you so long?
Jesse has been pretty
Jared.
adamant.
You guys have so many demands. I'm just trying to meet all of them and catch up. I'm playing catch up right now.
You're doing great, except for the things we're asking you to do. And those are the things you're slipping on. But I want to put a picture of Jared up there, and I want the fans to decide
to
what.
vote on his body.
Yeah, to vote on his, not just his body, just like what.
I have to have my shirt off? What is this?
Jared, where did you go there?
How are they going to know my body type unless
I
my
don't.
shirt's off?
There's enough online bullying going on in the world.
I was going to say.
What are you trying to do to Jared?
I want all of our fans to know the point of this is not for you guys to body shame Jared. The point is to give him a healthy relationship with a Nintendo character that he could. Yeah, it's probably not going to be Sonic the Hedgehog 2, even though I know you think you're fast.
How about Eggman?
I don't know who Eggman is, but he sounds like he has a similar body type. Kirby might be my favorite one. I would have never thought of that. All this video game talk actually parlays right into what we wanted to talk about first, Jess. Wait, you actually had an anniversary. Do you want to talk about that at all?
If you're like seeing me like stretch, romantic weekend anniversary, and I'm pretty sore, Jared.
Oh, what is that?
Don't ask what happened.
Ooh.
A lot of naps.
A lot of napping.
A whole lot of napping.
A lot of napping and snacking.
20 years. Are you at 20 years yet?
No, not yet. I'm coming up on it.
How about you, Jared?
I'm 15. 16.
So I'm kind of the best at being married in the whole room.
You are.
Yeah, but if you
Congrats to me.
if
you threw the best party for your wife out of anyone. So
I agree.
he did throw going. If you take though, like compared to what people thought, I think Jared's killing you. Like 15 years for Jared is like
Over under on Jared's marriage was 2.5 years.
yeah, and
he made it 15.
And we give you zero credit for that, Jared. But
I leave sticky notes all over the house of why I love her, and that's what keeps it going. So.
He's
relationship
he's
advice.
I leave sticky notes of things for her to do while I'm gone during the day.
We call those to-do lists, Jared. Those are
Great
those
job.
are not terms of endearment. Positive affirmations about your relationship. What's the sweetest thing that you did for your wife on your anniversary? And for all of our female listeners, or our female listener, I don't know how many of those we even have, but for our female listeners, do not pit your husband or your loved one up against this.
I'm a pretty high bar.
Yeah, you are not matching Jesse Christensen in the romance category, and we don't expect any guy to match this.
When we like budget, 50% of my lifetime income is just gone towards like keep your wife happy to stay married. So, I actually didn't plan it. Lindsay kind of planned it. Went to the lodge at Alta, got a massage. I got a massage. I don't like getting massages, so that was the nice, sweet gesture I did. I got a couple's massage.
What a sacrifice. Thank you for your sacrifice.
Not really any strangers touching me, you know?
I know. I have a weird thing about massages too. I get antsy after like 5 minutes.
We just relaxed. We're going to Disneyland tomorrow, so we did nothing. We relaxed. We laid by the pool. We got massages. It was beautiful. I let her nap for hours while I watched the Tahoe Celebrity Golf Tournament.
Well, I want to talk about that in a minute, but let's get into it. Today's theme is video games.
The whole theme.
Yeah, I was waiting for Jared to be like, "Oh, I'm like Messi on FIFA."
No,
that's my body
We just
type.
got Mario Party, and my son absolutely loves that one. Have you guys played Mario Party?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I have not.
No, you're missing out. So
I've never been invited. Okay, so really quick, video games. I was a big Nintendo guy. Once, Jesse alluded to this, but once games started requiring loading, I was out. Like they lost me at loading. I couldn't wait. I was not patient enough to wait for the loading. Even if it was like 2 seconds, it just would lose me every time, which has been well documented as well, I believe. But Jesse, you want to talk about some video game
Madden
stuff?
rankings?
Let's do it.
Today, Madden's gotten so huge now that they're slowly announcing the player rankings over time. So
Is Madden still like the number one?
No.
Because I feel like a lot of people like FIFA.
Oh, it's probably not bigger than FIFA.
Really?
I don't know. I don't count any numbers outside the U.S. Like anything that happens Europe, South, Central America, those numbers don't count to me. Only.
What about Gran Turismo?
I don't know. Are you saying is Gran Turismo a bigger game than Madden?
I don't know. I'm just saying words.
I'm gonna just make shit up and say no. It's not even close. I would like to assume Madden.
Okay,
is
do they
much
still
bigger.
do an NCAA football?
No, they can't because it is part of NIL.
The licensing? That would be a mess. Now,
The current offer for NIL is every player gets $500 to use their name and jersey number, and the players are not signing off on it.
well, yeah, I mean, if you're.
So they might relaunch with numbers only and just say
Why do I feel like
we're
there
giving you
are.
$500 and we didn't even technically use your likeness. So.
I feel like there's some college football players that would 100% sign off on that.
Yeah, I was going to say that you can imagine the ones who aren't signing off on it and the ones who are.
I'd be willing to pay $500 to have my own Madden character.
Since the launch, that's why so many fans were excited about NILs. It should have brought NCAA back, but they haven't reached like a group agreement yet. So
yeah,
keeps getting pushed off.
Okay, well, tell everyone your
Madden
nostalgia
rankings
with
are out,
Madden,
which the players love now, right? So Madden rankings came out today. So I wanted to talk about like if you agree with them and if you agree the order. So you have them there.
Well, and wait, you said so now because they used to just like release them all. It used to
the
not
game
even be
used
a
to just
thing.
come out, but now all the players grew up doing Madden. So you can imagine like if you come out and you're finally your character on Madden and your ratings like a 68. You're not super stoked.
And it's out of 100. Yeah, you really dumb it down for the
There's
listeners.
a big
and
thing
for me,
in the
please.
locker room of being able to go in and being like, I'm a 99, which there aren't many of, right?
Are there any hundreds? Has there ever been
There's
100?
no such thing as 100 in Madden. 99 is the highest ranking.
Okay, and every year, how many 99s might there be?
1, maybe 2, like
Per position or total?
No, in the whole game. You're talking like a J.J. Watt peak year, maybe like an Aaron Donald peak year. Or this one you see here on the list. I don't know. We don't know how many there are total because receivers now they're letting them out like all this week, day after day. So I think tomorrow's like edge rushers. I don't know the order. So receivers is the first one out.
What would be the most boring podcast to talk about? Cornerbacks?
No.
What would be
Hunters.
Offensive linemen?
Hunters.
Don't tell Moose Bingham that.
So there's a couple of things around this. I guess they're interesting. One, that receivers have gotten this big that this is like the first position they're putting
Before
out.
quarterbacks. That's crazy.
So, which is interesting today, right before we came on the pod was the deadline to sign these guys. So neither Jacobs nor Saquon signed deals.
Yeah. There's definitely, here's the thing. There's
Which in
definitely
our era,
shifts.
those would have been the dudes, right? This would have been the list they came out first with running backs.
I mean,
We were in the golden age of running backs.
Think about this though. So the NBA, the narrative over the last probably 5 to 10 years is really since Golden State's kind of rise. Golden State gets all of the credit for it. I think that the Steve Nash and the Phoenix Suns teams kind of started a trend. Golden State took it to the next level, and it was like death of the big man, right? But the funny thing is the Joker and big men are still like the top MVP vote getters. The Joker just won the NBA Finals. Like it's even though there was like the narrative of that and it feels that way, the big men are still very relevant, right? And so I kind of feel like the same things happened in football where there's kind of like ebbs and flows of every position.
It definitely
running
came back.
backs are in
Well, it definitely came back last year in terms of usage, but the compensation's not following.
Not even close. And I think a lot of teams, there's a lot of reasons for it, right? So
I think Bijan's going to be the highest paid running back in the league this year.
as a rookie. What, the number 9 pick or 8 pick? What pick were the Falcons? 8?
9, 8,
whatever. 8. Top 10 pick.
Yeah.
A lot of people thought it was pretty ambitious to take a running back in the top 10 because I think that almost like the sentiment now is that,
especially when you had a back that just ran for 1,200 yards as a rookie.
well, yeah, and half of the running backs in the league, like of the Pro Bowl running backs, 3 of them will have been undrafted dudes. It seems like every year now. Like it seems like running backs are more. Again, it's the perception is they're more a product of the system. They don't last very long. I do think there's something to be said about
which I would love to look into because you see some of these. There's a big handful of high-paid receivers the last 4 or 5 years that seem to be habitually injured and not playing just the same. When you look at the kind of end of Julio's career, when you look at Michael Thomas the last couple of years, it also seems like as soon as one of these guys get tweaked, it's like
it's
kind of
game over for them. Yeah, no, I think definitely. Before we get onto the receivers, though, who would you say are the top? If you were the Madden ranker, who would be your top 3 running backs? Tyler Algier, Borjan, and who's the backup to the backup for the Falcons?
Tyler like that.
Just joking. We love, this is a pro Algier podcast for sure. I actually think Atlanta's running game is going to be nasty last year.
Got into my head with how the game is now. Saquon number 1. I would still take McCaffrey.
Over McCaffrey, though?
I would still take McCaffrey, too, probably. Because, what are we talking about? In terms of, like, mileage on him and injuries and history, like, probably Saquon, McCaffrey. I don't even know who I'd take third.
Not Henry?
It's too much wear and tear.
I know. But see, that proves the point, though, right? If I'm a GM, I mean, let's look at Zeke. Like, Zeke was, Jerry Jones loved Zeke. For those of you, sorry, for Jared, Zeke is a running back for the Dallas Cowboys, or he was.
I heard he likes to eat cereal, but
I think he was the number 5 pick in the draft, like top 10, like I think top 5. And Jerry Jones loved him. He gave him a contract before Dak, which was kind of a big deal at the time. And then he signed that contract, and he was a bruiser, and his usage was high. Ever since that contract, it's been like one of the worst contracts in the NFL, and it tied him up for multiple years, and it was killing their cap. And really, like the last maybe 2 years, but for sure last year, Tony Pollard was probably the best running back on the Cowboys. I don't even think
and
it's
maybe
close.
the best running back this year
in the league.
Think how many carries he's going to get. Think how long he's been splitting carries.
Yeah, but you would never take him over McCaffrey or.
I'm not saying he's. Let me correct. Not the best running back. He may have the best stats this year.
Yeah, he could. I mean, even though I do think
I bet if you looked up the
Cowboys
odds,
offensive line,
if you looked up the odds for rushing leader, Tony Pollard's got to be in top 3 this year.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying you're wrong. And they've restructured it in a way where they don't have to use Zeke like to justify paying Zeke what they pay him, right? Like, so I would definitely say just running backs, it's just different. It's just different. I think that they're equally as important, but I think that teams think that they can go. I mean, Seattle for 10 years with Russell Wilson was like, no, why would we draft a offensive lineman? We could just like take, firemen and ex-basketball players and turn them into offensive linemen. And it didn't really work. But at the same time, dude, different teams put a different level of importance on different positions. Running back across the league, it's just they're not getting their second contracts like they used to. And the longevity, not even close. Zeke might have actually hurt running backs with that second contract. Zeke's second contract might have done more damage to running back contracts the next 10 years than any other player. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at Saquon, dude. We have probably the biggest freak athlete in the entire league.
Great hands.
Didn't get an extension today, and they paid Daniel Jones.
It's crazy.
It seems like it's definitely like way overswung. Someone's going to come out and pay a running back big and have it pay off, and then you're going to get copycat league. Yeah.
So are you hearing? I keep hearing things about Jacobs and Saquon. They're not saying that they're not going to play.
They're not playing under a franchise. If you're Saquon, especially with the injury he already had, he's not stepping out.
Especially
under franchise.
So the way that franchise tags work, just so the listeners get up to speed, is if you franchise a player, what you're saying is I'm going to lock you up for 1 year, but I'm going to take the 5 top salaries of that position, and I pay the middle of what that is, like the average of those 5.
You're gonna be one of the best paid running backs in the league, but
for a year,
but no insurance and no security.
So different players have for some people some players have taken advantage of, like Kirk Cousins was one of the highest paid quarterbacks over the last 20 years, but one of the highest paid quarterbacks ever because of his franchise tags. Like nobody ever wanted to lock him up long term. So he kept getting he was basically like the second, third best contract in the league year after year because the Giants didn't want to lock him up like long term, right? And then the Vikings kind of did the same thing with him. Like it's some players it's actually worked in their favor. For a lot of players, they look at it as you're not willing to commit to me. You don't want to invest in our future together. But
you can't ask a guy to go out on the field like, look at Lamar last year as a disaster. And then the second you get a tweak and you don't want to go back in, and then you've got everyone questioning, how hurt are you really? What's your commitment to the team? Look what happened to the Ravens last year. Like, you can't be the Giants and get down to, I mean, they made the playoffs last year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs without Saquon. But you get down to the end of the year and you're banged up and you're tweaked, and now you're going to be a free agent. Like, it's going to be hard to get that dude to do it for the love of the team.
No, I know. And I think that there was a time, I was listening to a podcast the other day, like a week ago, where they were talking about, like, in the past, 15 years ago, whenever a player would hold out or whatever, it was always like the public view of it was like, shame on the player. It was very like pro team, pro organization. It's kind of switched to where I think a lot of people get it. I think a lot of people, if Saquon sits out for a whole year even, I actually think a lot of people would like almost like be on his side, where 15 years ago, there's no chance. Like, even Le'Veon Bell was kind of the first one to do that. And he did it didn't work out well for him. That's for sure. But the public, like, I wouldn't say they were in his favor. Where
didn't he post an apology yesterday on social media?
Oh, I didn't see that.
To the Steelers fans?
No, but he owed him one. But again, it didn't work out great for him. So I don't know, if I'm a running back, I don't love like how things are going right now. And if I'm a 16-year-old amazing athlete that could be a really good running back, I might be figuring out how to play linebacker or wide receiver or just any other position, because running backs just aren't valued like they used
and
to
it's
be.
already happened. I mean, this is why there's so many good, we'll go to the receiver list in a minute. This is why there's so many good receivers for the last 10, 12, 15 years. Like, when we were kids, everyone wanted to be a running back.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a receiver now. Those are the big name guys that get paid the most, that get the biggest social media followings. Like, those are the stars of the league.
Well, and if you think about it, defensive players have gotten so big, so fast, so strong, they don't even let them hit quarterbacks anymore, like even once in a game. These running backs, you got to remember, not only if you hit 20 carries, that means you're getting hit 20 times. It doesn't count when you have to sit in the pocket and block. A blitzing linebacker.
20, 30 blocks.
I know, and that might hurt worse than
if you're an every down back.
Yeah, and blocking, blocking Bobby Wagner coming in full speed, untouched by a lineman, and you just have to like take it, and you get blown up, 10, 15, 20 times a game. I don't care what you say, like, that position, you are getting hit like crazy nonstop, and unfortunately, like, people are noticing, and they're just not giving them those second contracts. Who do you think it hurts more, the Raiders or let's say Jacobs and Barkley both sit out? What team does that hurt more, the Giants or the Raiders?
I think the Giants.
He's everything.
He's a lot. You just have to run Daniel Jones even more.
I know.
Good luck with that.
But the Raiders in that division, without Jacobs, they just don't have a chance.
I'm just not super high on the Raiders, I guess, so I don't have that big expectations for them anyway.
Yeah. But, I mean, the Giants are in the worst division in football, so they could probably handle losing their best
I know you're
play.
a big Garoppolo guy, though. So
yeah, that's going to be a disaster. I really think the Raiders might win 3 games this year.
Are you taking a picture of us, Jared?
Yeah, it's for the new Instagram account.
I like it. Well, let's talk about what you actually wanted to talk about. I don't even know. I don't know where that.
We don't need to go over all their ratings, but this is.
I want to go over them.
This is their list in them. This is who Madden the game is saying is the top 10 wide receivers.
Okay, do we want to go top down or bottom up?
Top down.
Okay. Yeah, we might not ever get to the bottom.
I'll go through them. You tell me if you have an issue. Number 1, Justin Jefferson.
I picture if he had a real quarterback.
Oh,
so
mean to Kirk. Number 2.
Wait. That's it? That's all you want to talk about?
No,
with
and he's a
Justin?
99. He might be one of the only 99.
So
they're saying, like, Madden is saying, like, this is possibly the best player in the game.
Yeah, and
I don't know who else are going to come out in the rankings if there's another 99 out there.
Yeah, maybe TJ Watt or something, but
no, they're not giving TJ Watt a 99.
Yeah, after last year, actually, there's no way. Well, okay, but is Justin Jefferson? Do you agree with that? Is he the best?
Oh yeah, he's so good.
I think he's so good.
Amazing.
He's so good, and the fact that that whole receiver class is nuts, dude. Like, I'm sure there'll be others on here, but like the fact that like. You're mad you took Jamar Chase before Justin Jefferson. Like, that's crazy.
Nuts.
I know. Okay, keep going, though. That's an easy one. He's number 1.
2, Tyreek Hill with the 98.
Yeah. I don't know. He produces like crazy, and like I like him, but
Last year I would have said way overrated, but I was kind of on record in the podcast last year of saying Tyreek wasn't going to have that good a season without Mahomes, and I was 100% wrong.
I know. I don't know. It's just so hard. He's just so small. It's kind of like Steve Smith used to be for me. Well, no, for me, Justin Jefferson he's like a Randy Moss that's willing to go over the middle, but he can like stretch it even. Dude, Tyreek Hill's just like different than everybody else.
Yeah, but look at the rest of this list too. Diggs isn't that big. Kupp obviously isn't that big. Hopkins isn't that big. McLaurin's not that big.
I know, but
AJ
Tyreek
Brown,
Hill's
huge.
But Tyreek Hill, he really is so good. So he's a 98 overall.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I think the difference, I think there's a little bit more of a delta between Jefferson and everybody else. I think Jefferson's that good.
Third, Devontae Adams, I think Devontae Adams they had as the number one last year.
Get out of here with Devontae Adams, dude. You don't get to have that bad of a year last year and still be like number 3 in Madden. He should have dropped further.
Yeah. Diggs might be the one, although I love him. I think this is a little high.
Oh, really? I think Diggs is take away if he's like I've heard some different things about Diggs, so maybe I'll keep him to myself. But I think Diggs is I think if Diggs was as good as he thinks he is, he would be number 1 on that list. And I think that I'm sorry, I put Cooper Kupp over Diggs and Devontae Adams.
That's fair. This is the one I would maybe move up higher, Jamar Chase at 6.
Dude, Jamar. So my list probably goes Jefferson. I would go Jamar Chase 2nd. And then I would go Kupp and Tyreek Hill would be 3 and 4 for me. But I think those are the 4 best.
Chase is a top 3 for me for sure too.
Oh yeah, but Devontae Adams above Chase? Like, I don't know. Just Devontae do it without Rodgers for a year before. I guess that's what you're saying about Tyreek Hill is like he did it without Mahomes, so you're cool with him being
with
in that
multiple
top 4.
quarterbacks. Yeah,
I'm not okay with Adams ahead of, and Adams is a 97, Diggs is a 96, Kupp is a 96, Chase a 94.
And Diggs really has done it with multiple quarterbacks too.
No, I know Diggs is good, but I'm more excited about Chase. In a fantasy draft, I'm drafting Chase number 2.
After that, Hopkins, who just signed with the Titans yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know what he has anymore, and I don't have a lot of expectations for him with Tannehill.
Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean he's not the best receiver, but I'm not expecting him to have a monster year.
Okay. One, thank you for shouting out my energy drink, Monster. DeAndre Hopkins for me is the one. For me, he's the most overrated player in the NFL. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm saying he's overrated. Like what did he do last year that like made you feel like he's even a top 10 receiver? Like tell me one game that now you can say it's because of Kyler, but like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter, dude.
A mess of a situation with like not a very good offense and not a lot of structure as a coach. Yeah. I love Hopkins.
And Hopkins got injured last year. It's just like what?
I'm just wondering if Hopkins is at that Julio point where you've seen the peak and it's all downhill from here.
I think so, and I even think at his peak, he like got the recognition for being like the number 1 receiver in football, but I don't think it was ever justified. He was never who I would have taken number 1, and now he's going to the Titans. And or is that official, by the way? The Titans.
Yeah, he signed yesterday.
So he's going to the Titans. Are we way pumped that Tannehill is like throwing them the ball? Like if he was going to the Jets or something, I would see at least the anticipation.
And they needed someone. I mean, there's hardly anyone there to throw the ball to, so he's going to get a lot of balls thrown his way, if nothing else.
Well, I hope he does because he's the number 7 best wide receiver in Madden. Like they better throw him the ball a lot.
This is the big one to me. What is this, number 8? No, this is 7. Terry McLaurin.
No, that's number 8.
Oh, yeah, that is 8.
Yeah, because Hopkins was 7. I didn't like that. So, Scary Terry. You know who's throwing to him.
Yeah, and look, I'm not going to claim to have put in a lot of hours watching Redskins games last year.
Yeah, dude. I think McLaurin, I think Scary Terry is amazing, especially with what he's had throwing at him, right? Like he's had Heineke, he's had like Howell. I mean, it's just like what I don't know how good he really is, and he's really good.
Also, I do imagine lining up next to Jahan Dotson, who I have spent a lot more time watching when he was at Penn State, and that dude is a freak. Like, those two together is pretty good.
I know it's a great receiving core, but I think the uncertainty at quarterback just makes me nervous about it. I would have put AJ Brown probably over him. But I'm okay
for sure.
I'm okay with Terry being in the top 10, but I think there's a group of like 7 or 8 dudes that could have been between number probably 8 and 15 that Terry's in that range.
AJ Brown's 9 and Amari Cooper 10.
The Amari Cooper thing, come on, you guys. Like, I don't know. For me, and this is not biased at all, but I put DK ahead of. Would you take Amari Cooper or DK Metcalf?
I would take DK
all day long. Like Amari was like really, really good a couple years ago. He didn't have a great season last year. Not all his fault probably, but at the same time, it's just like he's always been like good. He's never been like top 5 for sure. And last year was like pretty disappointing. I don't know why he's in the top 10 over. I think there's a lot of players that I'm more excited about than Amari Cooper. But Amari Cooper gets a 91. He gets the same grade as AJ Brown. Have you seen AJ Brown with his shirt off, Jesse?
It's my screensaver.
Have you seen it, Jared?
I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah, that alone should have got him 94. Remember when him and DK were on the same team in college?
It's ridiculous. No, we did not know what we had back then. I would go back and watch every Ole Miss game.
That should have been the primetime game. Every game was just them, and they should have made them play without pads on and without their jerseys.
It'll be interesting, though. All of this, like, to wrap all this up, I think this could be a tipping point, right? If, like, we brought up Bijan. If you see Bijan come in and have a huge year, if the Saquon deal gets – like, people ran so much more last year, and if these guys can get better deals before they get on the field and produce, I do think this is their chance to kind of swing the pendulum back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm okay with the list. My biggest things are Jamar Chase should be 2 or 3. Like, he's that. And he has Burrow thrown to him. I mean, he's that good. I just think DeAndre Hopkins. That's like a lifetime achievement award or something. I don't think he has any business being a 93 right now or number 7 on the list of receivers. And then Terry, AJ Brown, Cooper, DK. There's a whole bunch of guys that could kind of fit into that next tier of guys. So I don't have a giant problem with it, but I don't know. Amari Cooper in the top 10 just since when? I put CD Lamb over Amari. I'd take CD Lamb right now over Amari Cooper.
Oh, CD didn't even make this list. Huh?
CD didn't even make the top 10. No, he doesn't have a quarterback thrown to him. I get it.
I mean, I should have done some more research. There's probably like 3 guys I would have wanted to pull in here.
For me, the biggest ones being left out are probably DK and
CD
and
for sure.
CD for sure, and then those are the main ones probably.
All right, let's switch gears. I hate football.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, how do we get Jesse to talk about football that way?
I spent, because it was my anniversary and we were just at a spa resort and doing a lot of nothing, I spent way too much time watching the Tahoe Celebrity Golf Tournament. Did you watch any of it all?
I watched, of course, everyone saw not everyone. There was a clip of Steph hitting a hole-in-one. That was like a big one. I watched probably 45 minutes of it, and half the people I was like, wait, is that a real golfer? Is that a celebrity? Because I didn't know the names of some of them. Steph was the biggest name for sure.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely a couple of huge people in there that wildly entertaining, and that top like 10 actually very, very good at golf. The scoring system's different where you get points for pars and birdies and stuff. So if you go look at the scoring, it's not going to look anything like
there was a time
the top scorer is the winner versus the normal thing.
Yeah, Curry had 68 points through like 11, and I was just like, what? Like, I never figured out the point thing, if I'm being honest, but it was very entertaining.
There's like the Aaron Rodgers did super well. I don't know where. I think he finished in like top 6. Like, very, very good, which will bring up something I want to talk about in a minute. At the end of it, it came down to Marty Fish, who I'm going to admit I did not know who he was. He's a tennis player. So going into it, I don't even know his name. There's a hockey player who I also had to Google his name, Steph.
Tell me he putted with the Happy Gilmore
but they took,
hockey.
like, what's funny is they literally did like a 14-minute thing on putting like his slap shot swing next to his golf swing and comparing.
Was it awesome or
no? It was
stupid?
bullshit.
Okay.
But you got to come up with stuff, I guess, to like evaluate in a celebrity golf tournament. For like 10 minutes straight, they were analyzing like his hockey swing versus his golf swing. So there's a hockey player, I don't remember his name now, Patel something,
Gretzky,
and Marty Fish, who was a tennis player that I also had to Google, and then Steph. Honestly, Marty Fish playing so well. Did you see like how it ended?
Yeah, no, I did.
Kind of a bummer. So if you didn't watch it, they're on the 18th hole. Marty Fish basically has it in the bag. During his backswing teeing off, someone makes it legit sounded, the seagull on Little Mermaid when he's trying to like serenade him. Someone makes a perfect what's that guy, Scuttle? A perfect Scuttle impersonation. F's up Fish's swing, toes it. I mean, just straight out of bounds. Like a ridiculous shot.
He's so pissed.
He's super pissed. And this, honestly,
he's pissed, but everyone was kind of pissed. Everyone was like, dude,
he's pissed. The announcers were like super pissed, went on about it. This made me love Steph so much. Like Steph was super, super pissed. And it shows you like he's a competitor. Steph wants to like beat him, right? Not have it handed to him, which Steph still had to come through super clutch. He still had to like make an eagle putt to win it, which he did. Is amazing. So
I saw that.
Couple of things I want to take away.
But it just took the thing that sucks most about it is if Steph would have just beat him straight up, without that happening, it'd be like the biggest story in sports. Like Captain Clutch. Look at Steph Curry. Doesn't know how to be
Which still, I assume most people didn't watch it. Most of the headlines still were like Captain Clutch. Look at Steph. Which but I'm not taking away from what he did.
No one's talking about that. We're all talking about the squawk.
Yeah, people who watched it.
The squawk on 18.
It depends on whose article you're reading today. If you watch the whole thing, though, in defense of this fan, who I don't defend at all, it actually was like, by that point, I was super into it. So even I was pissed because I spent a whole Sunday watching a celebrity golf tournament. And at that point, like you got two top level athletes competing and you're super into it. There's a part of the Tahoe thing where they're throwing frisbees and footballs and shotgunning beers. So like a little bit, where do you distinguish when the party's over? Like part of it, they're trying to be the Waste Management Open. And then all of a sudden they want to switch to like, everyone be quiet.
This is serious.
The fan couldn't read the room, right? Or he's a big Steph guy and he thought like, I'm going to help him out. I don't know what it was, but it bummed me out for sure. Like it was kind of a bummer to see that because I wanted to see Steph beat him like without that. Rolls over into the next thing. Like it made me think, so Steph gets a hole-in-one during the tournament and then wins the tournament by hitting an eagle putt. Do you think Steph could have been like a Dion or a Bo Jackson in terms of crossover athlete?
Oh, yeah. So here's my dad and I actually had a conversation about this last night. But Daryl, shout out to Daryl. Daryl's been around a lot of athletes in his life. He's a financial advisor and he's helped a lot. So
he raised you and Bernie.
He raised Bernie and I. So like he's been with like the young phenoms all the way to the professional. So, and we were talking last night and he's like, he goes, the thing is these guys like Steph that have their hand-eye coordination is so it's on such a different level than what we are. He goes, I was playing ping pong with Jeff Hornacek once, and he goes, Jeff Hornacek probably hadn't played ping pong for 10 years. And he's like, he was so good. It was ridiculous just because his hand-eye coordination is just on a different level, right? And everyone thinks they have like great hand-eye coordination or the new thing. I heard a dude at my gym this morning talk about how he's just a twitchy athlete. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Just a white guy?
Yeah, like a white, like 42-year-old guy
sure
telling me about how twitchy he was. I was just like, I can't even handle that. But that's, anyways, he's so undervalued as an athlete. But no, so I think that, if you took
I'm not just saying though, like, oh, these guys are better than I'm saying like, Do you think Steph, if
100%,
would it be
yes.
possible for Steph to be on the PGA Tour and a pro basketball player at the same time?
I don't know.
Take away like the business. I think from a business standpoint, no one will be allowed to do it anymore, right? Like the things that they let Dion or Bo Jackson get away with. No team, no agent, no coach. No one's going to let you do that.
No one's letting you play in a baseball game and then
But pretend those things didn't exist, just like on a skill level.
Yeah. So I think there's certain athletes. So for a long time, everyone talked about how Tony Romo could have been a PGA golfer, right? And he's also a quarterback. Do I think that I think it almost has less to do with, are they athletic? The answer is yes, they're athletic enough. But the other thing is, they're so driven. Like Steph is probably, even though Steph's so fun-loving and you don't really notice, he's so competitive and he's so driven and he's so obsessed with being the best at something. That, yeah, there's no doubt in my mind.
Which is why
it
made me love him when that fan came out. Like you could tell he was genuinely pissed of like, dude, I was going to go out and beat this guy like fair and square. And now you messed it up for me. Yeah.
Well, and I guess that's what we all love about Steph, right? Is like Aaron Rodgers. You think Aaron Rodgers would have been like, no, he would have handled the same way? We'd be like, no, man, the better golfer won. Da-da-da-da-da. Sorry, I still have a weird thing about Aaron. You know that. But no, to answer your question, 100%, there's certain athletes, not every athlete, but there's certain athletes that if they weren't in the sport they were playing, they would be professional at something else. And the debate of like, oh, well, if LeBron played soccer, we'd have the best soccer teams in the world. I don't know if that's true either. But at the same time, you don't think Steph Curry could be tell me, putting on the World Cup team, do you think Sauce Gardner could make the World Cup soccer team today and just lock down Mbappe?
I mean, I don't know about today, but if he'd started a certain amount of time, I don't know Sauce's soccer background, but
I don't know, but you get my point, right? Yeah. Like there probably is some serious crossover. I think the weird thing is golf isn't the same kind of like, oh no, LeBron's just an athlete, and now look at how good he is at golf. Golf is almost like for basketball players and how tall. You got to remember, Steph Curry's still really tall compared to like he'd be the tallest PGA golfer in the PGA.
And I definitely want to stand by that. It's very difficult to swing a golf club if you're tall.
Oh,
that's the excuse I'm holding.
It is.
To.
So to me, the fact that Steph is this good at golf, where it doesn't surprise me that Aaron Rodgers or Tony Romo, like it's more surprising to me how good Steph is at golf than those guys.
Steph taller than Aaron Rodgers.
Oh yeah,
Jared, will you Google both their heights while Kev keeps talking?
I will.
Yeah, we better check because I know
I'm going to go out and say I think they're very similar in height.
Well, maybe, but I stood by Steph once, and he's tall, dude. Like he looks short on the court, but we're gonna find out in just a second. Hey, while he's looking that up, can I bring up one thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so this was a celebrity golf match. You spent all day Sunday watching it.
I didn't say all day, but like
no, but it captivated you. Yeah.
An entire Lindsay nap. 2.5 hours.
How funny is this though? There was also the Scottish Open, and Rory won the Scottish Open, and no one is talking about that today. How crazy is that?
Honestly, like I love McAfee, so I want to see how he was doing. I like it, love him or hate him. Like if Aaron Rodgers is out there doing something, you want to see, and then Steph. Like there are personalities that I know. It's cool to see those guys who take it serious and are actually competing. Like go out and compete like that. What'd you find, Jared?
Aaron Rodgers and Curry.
Yeah,
both 6'2".
I knew it.
6'2". You're 6'2".
So both shorter than me. So think how
I've seen you.
So think how hard it is for me to swing a golf club being 2 inches taller than both of those guys.
Gosh,
if only I was 6'2", dude, I could have played in that.
No,
a short guy like Jared, it's easy for him to be good at golf because he's so close to the ground.
Kirby?
Hey, come on, I'm like 5'11", 6 foot.
That's short.
Yeah, 5'11" is probably
6 foot.
I would probably say 5'10" or 5'11". If you're gonna go vague like that, I don't know if you can just throw 6 foot in there when you're not 6 foot, Jared.
But I don't think you should be calling 5'11" short.
Hey, in my defense, I did watch the PGA Tour on Saturday.
Okay.
But just yesterday, I was intrigued by the storyline. Steph was in the top. I want to see how it finished.
So there was a couple things, right? So there's
Steph's
a couple
a bigger celebrity than those guys.
This weekend, there was actually a lot of like very interesting sports and big athletes competing. So Rory won the Scottish Open. We had Djokovic lose
I also
Wimbledon.
watched that.
That was great. That was
and
an amazing final round.
First sporting event. In fact, I was like, let's go to breakfast. And she was like, we're not leaving this. We need to keep watching.
I know. It really
I didn't
was.
know who I was married to.
It really was like a very cool final round. Anytime a 20-year-old beats an icon, it's going to be really cool. But the fact that the number one thing I was hearing on just like all the sports radio today was about some fan at a celebrity tournament making a squawking noise, and Steph Curry, how good of an athlete is he?
Overshadows maybe one of the best Wimbledon finals of all time.
And Rory, who's playing professional golf, winning the Scottish Open, and Rory's one of the biggest stars in the league, maybe the biggest right now, and it's not even being talked about. They're talking about Steph Curry in a celebrity tournament. It just shows like, what are we really like as American sports fans?
They love celebrities.
We love Curry. We love Curry so much, dude. It is crazy. Basketball is that popular that Curry playing in a celebrity game could outshine Rory winning the Scottish Open. That's crazy.
Hey, let's alter the last topic
and
keep it short because we got, as they say in the business, Jared, we got to put 2 in the can today, if you know what that means.
2 peas in the pod.
That's
Is that different?
So
very different.
The last thing, obviously, we talk about, you and I are involved in NIL with Encore, which is our sports marketing company. Chip Kelly had an interview with Joel Klatt, and there was like a couple of things he said. We don't need to talk about all of them because we don't have time. But there is one thing he said that I just really, really love that I want to talk about. He kind of opened, the point of it was just like where we are.
Wait, first off, explain to everybody who Chip Kelly is.
He's the head football coach of UCLA.
And he was famous for coaching at Oregon. He kind of revolutionized the way college football
and
play.
Like the spread and yeah.
So when he says something, it's worth listening to for sure. Like
kind of brought the spread and RPO game to the NFL. Was a little early, but
yeah. And there was a time when he was arguably the best coach in college football.
One of the more innovative coaches, yeah, for sure.
Okay, keep going.
Anyways, with Joe Klatt, and he's talking about, and he kind of opened it with like, hey, before we talk about any of this, I just want to say there's no crying on a yacht, right? Which I thought was super cool. And obviously we like discuss this stuff, we argue about it, but he's saying like college football is awesome. It's amazing. Everyone can whine and bitch about all this stuff as much as we want, but like we're picking at details of one of the coolest things that exist, which I thought was really cool. And I love his overall tone of it was like, yeah, there's some problems, there's some issues. We need to like push this further and develop it, but like there's nothing wrong per se with what's going on. There's just like some things to be aware of.
Could it be ran better? Could we be fixing things faster?
And his overall takeaway is like, we're in the best time that college football has ever been, which I thought was a super cool perspective.
Yeah. So should we just touch on a couple? I liked when he talked about when people talk about the NIL and how, like, I mean, we talk about this every day, obviously, because of Encore. So, but the consensus is NIL is blank. When really, like, there was a giant change that happened at the same time as NIL being introduced, and that was the transfer portal no longer having a year. There was a time when if you wanted to transfer schools and you didn't want to have to wait out a year, there were only a couple scenarios where where it would fit. Like you had to have graduated college from wherever you were at. There were a couple instances where you could transfer and not skip a year, but most of the time,
everything else you're sitting out. So there's a penalty attached to like making the big change.
Yeah.
Right?
So which
was okay because it came the year before. I think the transfer portal is more of the issue that needs to be redeveloped.
Me too.
You're now having the opportunity to make money. Awesome. Just like any of us in any profession, but also with the chance to make money. There's like now a negotiation, like, okay, if I'm going to give you this money, then, and it usually comes with some type of commitment, right? Like, I would actually like to see a change of like, awesome, make all the money you can, however you can, but be committed to the person or the community or whatever who's giving you this money, right? Whether that's donors, brand deals, and your NIL or your brand like reach is very specific in NIL of like, cool, you're in Louisiana, it's great here. If you transfer to Oklahoma and I'm a restaurant chain that's only in Louisiana and I gave you money, you don't do shit for me in Oklahoma. I need you to stay here, right? Like, I think if you're going to take money as an athlete, like there should be some kind of commitment of like, we're doing an exchange here and I need to do my part, which is like be here in the community to earn the money.
Do you think Ben Simmons right now is like, I don't agree with that take. No, I actually totally agree with you. It adds a whole, both the transfer portal and NIL just add a giant, like a giant different thing than what it's been like in the past. So people who've loved college football for a long time, I know it feels gross. I know it feels dirty. I feel the worst for the coaches. Like, picture bringing in a kid who's a high recruit, but there's somebody playing in front of him who's better. But if you don't play that kid, he's just going to transfer next year and go somewhere else. And you've already probably committed. I mean, it's hard to recruit a player. Like, it is so hard to recruit a player, especially now with NIL in the mix. But then it's even harder to coach a player the correct way. And actually, a lot of these coaches, I mean, some of them have these amazing attitudes and these positive, but there's a lot of coaches that's not really their shtick, right? And so I think just like the transfer portal with NIL, it's taken away a lot of leverage that coaches have to coach the right way. But guess what? That
super
is
challenging for sure. But if your coach is getting paid $3, $4, $5, $6 million a year, like, figure it out. It's part of your industry
exactly.
now.
So I kind of look at this as the same way that it's the same conversations I'm having about AI, right? Like, when you talk to somebody about AI, they're going to tell you one of two things. They're going to say, oh man, it's going to take away so many jobs. Like, I don't know what the future of my situation is. And they are very fear-based and they look at it as it's taking from them, and there's like, it's no matter what, gonna be negative. And then there's people that look at it like, you're a great example, Jesse. Like, you've been excited about AI, you've been kind of on the forefront of it in a lot of different things, and you're finding ways to like let it benefit you. I think it's the same thing with college football, right? And so, not just college football, just college sports in general, is there's some schools, there's some coaches, there's some programs that are using the transfer portal and using NIL to their advantage. Let's take LSU, for example. LSU, through the transfer portal, and I'm sure through NIL, put together a national championship baseball team, which no one cares about, but it's still a big deal. And they had the number 1 and 2 draft picks come from just a week ago. They came both from that school. They also had the women's basketball championship, right? And so they're a school, and guess what? They were also on the forefront of NIL. They paid Libby Dunn. She was the highest paid NIL athlete the morning that it got announced, before anybody else. So they're one school that I think has completely taken advantage of it. And then I think that there's some schools that are still just like fighting about why this isn't fair, or why this isn't how college sports should be. Well, guess what? Innovate or die.
You can be the Blockbuster of college sports. There's another thing he said in there where I love. I'm going to read it so I don't butcher it. He said, you're in the kid business and you better enjoy being in the kid business or you're in the wrong profession, right? Which you and I have been around these athletes. You don't want to be disrespectful to anyone. They're a legal adult, but like, you've definitely been around athletes like, man, this is a kid. I don't even know what we have in common. I don't even know what we'd talk about outside of sports, right? We're old men now. And most of these college football coaches, like the really successful ones, are a little bit up there in age. And there is, I think we talked about this before, but like there was a clip a few weeks ago of Nick Saban on a boat pulling kids on tubes. He's got rap music turned up. Like, no matter what you say, and he's talked bad about NIL a little bit, but you better believe no matter what he says out there publicly, like that dude's working NIL to every advantage as he can. Like, he gets it, dude. And he wants to be in the business. He's going to innovate. He's going to get the forefront of it and figure it out. And it will work itself out to where in 5, 6, 7 years, like nothing could change about it at all in 7 years. It may not even be a topic worth bringing up on a podcast anymore because it's just so normal.
No, I agree. It's fun being a part of it, actually. Like, I actually enjoy it. I think it's, I think part of the reason why we got into it is because we want way more than anything financial, or even like, I want to be around athletes. It's like, we want to protect a space that's kind of sacred to us. And it's fun. I'm having a blast working in it. I think it's a great time, but it's funny when you're talking to different coaches or different ADs or different players at different universities. They really are, every university is or program, I should say, they definitely all have like their own stance on all of this stuff. They have their own strategy. Some of them don't have a strategy. And some of them are just taking advantage of it times 10. And some of them are holding on to the past and not And I think every year it's exponentially going to show which programs are and which programs aren't. And it's crazy how now fan bases actually can play a role in that, and all those things combined. But like you said, you're getting paid that money. Every business changes. Like every business in the world just changed because of AI over the last 4 to 6 months. There's some businesses that are going to flourish, and there's some businesses that are going to become obsolete. And it's up to you as a program. If you use the transfer portal and the NIL to your advantage, the schools that are, it's paying off so fast. Like you can change the trajectory of your program and the outcome of a season in 1 year now. Do you know how long that used to take? It used to take 4 years to know if a coach, to rebuild a program. Like, well, those aren't really hardballs, guys.
Enough money and excitement, you can rebuild in 1 year.
It's crazy.
Love it. Let's get out of here. Jared, we got to do another one. Let's give Jared a cigarette break. Jared,
for sure.
Go smoke your heaters.
I do want to know if there's any if Jared ever does set up any kind of a landing page for this stuff. I would love to know in the comments, do you guys think DeAndre Hopkins is a top 10 wide receiver at this point in his career? Not all time. I'm talking about this upcoming season, going to the Titans. Do you think he's a top 10 wide receiver?
Jared, if you ever do your job, get that poll up.
Hey,
on
it's going to be on YouTube.
Okay?
They can put it there or Instagram. So
he wants you to make a poll, Jared.
So many options.
He wants a poll.
A poll will be done.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
Go get your 6.
My candy 6. Okay. All right.